Hello everybody. In this video we are going to talk about the best controllers for fighting games. These are the controllers that I personally own. I bought with my own money. What that means is I can say whatever about them that I want. Now this is not a list of controllers that are released this year. These controllers are great for fighting games that are available so far up to this year. And remember, I don't have all of the controllers, so there may be controllers that I'm missing. These are just from my personal collection, and let me tell you, I have quite a lot of controllers. Without further ado, let's get started. The first category will be just great general use controllers, but at the same time, they're amazing for fighting games as well. And I've got two in front of me right here. I'm going to be honest with you, I cannot pick either one, so I'm going to just pick both. The first one is the Xbox Series controller. Now this controller's got great buttons. They're very clicky, and the reason being they use metal switches. Most controllers will use rubber dome-based switches, and they are kind of mushy, not this guy. It's just so satisfying to use. And the D-pad on here, I gotta give it to Microsoft. This is the best D-pad on any of the controllers that I've used. It's super accurate, and it's really easy to do diagonals. Because of these raised edges, you can really feel your way around. Best D-pad for any fighting game. It's also lightweight and super ergonomic too. Look how straight my wrist is. What this means is you're going to be able to play for long periods of time. This is by far my favorite still of just traditional controllers for general use. Can't go wrong with this. If you can only buy one controller, this would be it. And here I got a Kingkong Pro 2. At first glance, it looks a lot like the Xbox controller in terms of design and whatnot. You see that? What's special about this controller is the thumbsticks. These thumbsticks are electromagnetic, so you're not going to have stick drifts on these guys. The buttons are pretty satisfying. They're very clicky. And the D-pad is very solid as well. It's got the perfect size, so if you like traditional cross-shaped D-pads, this guy's the one. Very accurate as well. It's not as tactile as the Xbox controller, but it gets the job done. If you like the Xbox controller, but you want additional functionality such as turbo, or if you want macros, this controller has it. And I just love the look and feel of this controller, just so premium. Look at this. The faceplates here is soft touch plastic. Got a really nice grip here on the handles. Oh man, I just love this controller. For general purpose use in some fighting games, you can't go wrong with either of these controllers. For the best affordable Pro controller, that title goes to the 8BitDo Pro 2. At first glance, this is going to remind you of the look and feel of a PlayStation controller. The D-pad is on the primary location versus over here. And then you also have two back buttons too. And these buttons are located in the perfect place. They are on the handles, they are out of the way. You can press it super easily, and they're very clicky and tactile. These are probably the best back buttons on any controller. The buttons themselves are super clicky and tactile. And the D-pad is very accurate. They're very similar to the Super Nintendo D-pad. I really love the look of this D-pad. You see how there's little arrows here? There's a retro feel to it. Now you're thinking, why did I pick this controller versus the Ultimate? I have them both here, but I feel like this one is lighter and more comfortable for fighting games. And also the positioning of the D-pad being in the primary location lends itself so much better for fighting games. Versus the D-pad being down here on the Ultimate, this is a little awkward. You gotta really stretch your finger to do forward. Also the D-pad is placed in this little caved in area. This causes the D-pad to not have as much travel because your thumb is gonna be hitting against the edges here. So I don't like this D-pad as much. And you don't have that problem with the Pro 2. This is a great option for fighting games if you want back buttons as well, and it's super affordable. The best 6-button fight pad goes to this guy right here. This is the Betop Shadow Thorn controller. It's got the 6 face buttons right here, and these are super clicky. I love these face buttons. In terms of tactility, this is only second to the Xbox Series controller. You've got 4 shoulder buttons here. And what's great about this is you don't have the triggers to deal with, so it's instantaneous. When it comes to fighting games, you know, every millisecond counts. And this guy actually comes with 2 D-pads. We have this guy right here, and then also this guy. And both of these D-pads are anchored on a floating platform, as you can see. So it's kind of like a flat joystick, very much inspired by the Sega Saturn. This D-pad is better for 2D fighters because it's smooth. You can do motion input super easily with this guy. And this funky diamond-shaped D-pad is better for 3D fighters. You can do diagonals really easily because of these cutouts. It's super effective. I wish more controllers have D-pad that are shaped like this. This is really clever. On its own, this is the best 6-button controller I've ever tested. But guess what? This guy actually only costs you $25. When you consider the value proposition, if you only play fighting games, this is the controller to get right here. Oh, I forgot to mention, look how badass the faceplate is. Look at all these Chinese writings. It looks like something that came straight out of Street Fighter, you know? Such a cool controller. The best premium pro controller for fighting games goes to the Razer Wolverine V2 Chroma. This controller is awesome for fighting games because of the D-pad. Check that out. It's got these switches around the controller, very much like a joystick, but in a controller form. And let me tell you, this is great for 2D fighters. It's very smooth. This D-pad probably has the smoothest surface aside from the Xbox Series controller. It's super silky smooth to do motion input. Look at this. Now I hope that this D-pad makes it onto every single Razer controller moving forward. It's the best one they've done yet. The face buttons have mice switches in them. You can hear it. Yeah, super tactile and clicky. Love it. There's some LED strips here, which is cool, but I don't really care about it. I'm more about functionality over style. Check out the texture on this handle. Oh man. Awesome, very grippy. It feels like soft touch plastic here versus hard plastic on the faceplate. It looks and feels super premium, you know? As great as the D-pad and the face buttons are, what makes this controller special is, check this out. Look at all these buttons. And then also on the back too, you get 4 additional back buttons. I don't love the location and the design of these back buttons. I feel like only these two are easy to reach. This is really hard to reach because they're kind of all the way up here and out of the way. And this guy's got it all. You also have locking trigger functions. Look at that. Now it turns into just a regular button. The shoulder buttons are really nice and clicky as well. As if all these buttons are not enough, you also have these two extra buttons on the side here. And these are actually surprisingly easy to reach. Yeah, there you go. They feel exactly like a mouse click. Look at this. This is great if you need to repeatedly mash on a particular action. Look at this. These two extra buttons along with the super cool D-pad are my favorite feature of this controller. Razer knocked it out of the park with this controller. And the final category we have here is the best arcade stick. Ironically, because the best arcade stick does not have any sticks at all. Instead, it's got these 4 directional buttons here. This is the hitBOX. This is bar none the best controller for fighting games, period. And the reason why this hitBOX is so good for fighting games is you do not have to lift your thumbs or your fingers off any of these buttons. You just put it here, and off you go. The magic of this controller, it allows you to execute commands and move from commands to commands super quickly, way faster than your handheld controller like this. So for example, if I want to do an uppercut, it's a Z motion, right? So I gotta go like this. My thumb have to press forward and then slide it down and then go up again like this. So that's 3 motions. And it takes time to slide your thumb around. It just does. Whereas on the hitBOX, I can go like this and then I'm done. It's almost as if it's instantaneous. Look how quick that is. And to go from one command to the next command, let's say forward X, and then you gotta do down back Y, you gotta lift up your fingers. See that? It takes time. Whereas on the hitBOX, forward X, down Y. See that? Right away. You can execute one command to another without lifting your fingers. And finally, if you've ever played Soul Calibur on one of these guys, you gotta play like this. It's kind of awkward to press 2 buttons or multiple buttons at the same time. With a layout like this, it's no problem at all to do multiple buttons at once. Look at that, you can do any combinations of buttons all at once. If you want speed and accuracy on your fighting games, this is the best controller there is for fighting games. And also look at how nice it looks too. The faceplate is acrylic. I really love these red buttons. The logo here, black and red, it just looks so nice and premium, you know what I mean? Look at this, and very classy too. Alright, that's gonna be it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know what your favorite controller for fighting games are, and I'll see you around.